Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream, fresh off the back of Man United conceding 4 goals in the Champions League and a loss for them, and City getting the win on Tuesday. It's a very, very good Thursday afternoon. Hopefully, you guys are all well. Make sure you drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. And I'm glad to say I'm joined by Gavin from Man City EDS and Academy Twitter page. Gavin, man, thanks for joining me. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to get into, but how you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Very excited. The way things look like they're going to pan out. Obviously, it was a bit of a slow start for the EDS, but the under 18s started with a bang, and now the EDS seem to have sorted themselves out into more of a settled rhythm and getting the results. So yeah, all
Yeah, I
good.
mean, I think I guess you'd agree, but I don't know. Was there always going to be a little bit of a transition period for the EDS this year? Obviously, losing 2 key players. I mean, people who follow the academy knew that they were going to leave in the summer anyway. From a long time ago, I was calling it from last summer because they were too good to be there. There's always going to be a little bit of, obviously, you've lost Delap as well. I know he was out last year as well, but there's been a lot of changes in that EDS over the last sort of 18 months. So are we right in saying that there was always going to be a transitional period in that EDS team as newer, younger players sort of pushed through?
Yeah, I mean, he might have started slightly better if Jadel had stayed, but obviously he's gone on loan as well. So the back's just relying on Jamal and Max as a centre half in partnership, isn't it? Really. So, and both,
Yeah.
don't really seem to have that sort of leadership qualities quite yet. But obviously they're growing as a pair, so it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Alien, is that how you say his name? How do you pronounce his name? Alien, is that how you say his name? Centre back. Max Alain. I can't remember how you say it.
Max
Alain.
Elaine.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Max Alain.
Yeah.
I thought he looked all right actually in the Champions League the other night. I thought he looked pretty good on the ball. Drove forward quite a lot. But yeah, there obviously was always going to be a little bit of a transitional period. It will be good to see how the guys develop, and hopefully we always say this every year, but hopefully we have a little bit of a better youth league campaign, because I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the academy win that competition. I don't think they've ever got further than the semi-finals before, and we always typically struggle. Of course, last year we got beat, bit of a shock result of Hatchet Split, who obviously did really well and sort of shocked everyone. But listen, I think it's going to be interesting. But there's a couple of plays specifically that I want to speak about today. The first one really is a player that's sort of in between, but he's more senior now. But he's come through the academy, so I do want to speak about it, and that's Oscar Bobb. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Oscar Bobb over the years, playing mainly on the right wing, but last year really did have a sort of breakout season, in my opinion, playing much more centrally, much more demanding of the football. Sometimes when you play on the wing, you can be a little bit guilty sometimes of just waiting for the ball to come to you. When you play in the middle of the park, you can't really do that. You've got to get on the ball and demand it. And last year, when he was playing in a sort of more central position, I really thought that he sort of looked like the star player in the team, and that's at times, and that's saying something when you've got the likes of Borges and Mabude and others that were in the team as well. Where do we see? I mean, I remember us having a similar conversation with Rico Lewis last year, but where do we see Oscar Bobb playing this year in terms of, first of all, with the first team and the academy? How do you think the minutes are going to be split? And then with Pep Guardiola, who seemingly is a massive fan of Oscar Bobb, how do you think Pep sees sort of Oscar Bobb's development? Are we going to see just like some minutes here or there, or do we think that there could be some starts for Oscar?
Given the size of the squad and the injuries we've got, I think he'll get loads of minutes, and obviously I'm positive that he'll add a lot to that first team when he comes on. So I think that will continue as well. I don't think even when the players come back, I think it'll allow more rotation for Pep, and I don't think we'll ever see him play another EDS game again. I don't think.
You don't think you think that's him done?
Yeah, I think so. Like Rico as well. I think he's done.
That's interesting, that, because of course, in that midfield position at the moment, I know he's injured, but you got Kevin De Bruyne, Alvarez, Foden, Kovacic can obviously play in the midfield. You got Nunes who can play in the midfield. So that's a big call. I mean, we got Newcastle coming up in the Carabao Cup next week. could there be a chance that Oscar Bobb could start there? I mean, it's a big game and a big stadium against a big team, but listen, if you maybe want to hand out a rest to Alvarez, who's played a lot of minutes recently, then you've not really got too many other options.
Obviously, it all depends on how well it goes against Forest, really, doesn't it? I think if it's a comfortable game and Oscar's able to get on earlier, then who knows? He might get a chance to start. You don't know.
Do you think Oscar Bobb's going to be used as a midfielder or as a right winger under Pep? Because I feel like in Pep's system, maybe he could be played on the wing a little bit more. I think the problem that I had with him at right wing is in the academy, you've got players like Borges and Mabude who are very direct and are great to watch, of course. But then what you have to try and think, oh, wait a second, who is it? Yeah, who's coming? What type of player do you want under Pep Guardiola? Now, typically, you're not really going to see the Borges and the Mabudes under Pep Guardiola. We've seen that obviously because they've left. But Oscar Bobb, despite maybe not as being as direct as them two, and maybe not as good on the eye when he's playing on the wing, can hold the ball very, very well, and I think has a serious chance of maybe getting some minutes on the right.
Well, I mean, especially when you've got that young teenager called Kyle Walker running past you.
Yeah, true. That's true.
He's just in such fine form, isn't he? And offering so much on that right side that, again, someone like Oscar can, like you say, hold it up and create space and then play it through. And there's other, I say, we saw Nunes as well, didn't we? On midweek running through as well. So there's always options like that. Whereas I don't think we quite had that in the EDS, did we? So I think for the first team, if he's playing on the right, I don't see it as a problem because, like when Phil plays there, he always sort of cuts inside anyway on occasions, doesn't he? So no, I think he'll flourish there. Yeah.
I think he's got a great opportunity. First of all, just quickly, big up to Lee Gunner, man. He's just done a raid from his stream, so big up to everyone that's just joined from the League on a stream. If you've not done so, guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. We're trying to push towards 8,000 subscribers, so big up to Lee and big up to everyone that's joined us. Make sure you do smash the likes and subscribe. Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a really interesting one with Oscar Bobb. I think obviously he's still very young, as we all know, only just recently turned 20 years old. He had a little spell, didn't he, against Belgrade coming on. Listen, I think that shows you that Pep sees something in Oscar Bobb. I think he sees some sort of potential there. And, it's great to see. I thought he'd come on, looked lively, looked pretty good. And he doesn't give the ball away that much, which is obviously great as well, because you do typically see that. I think I always go back to this, right? But I always think that was a little bit of the problem with Cole Palmer last season but whenever he got on the pitch, I think he was so obsessed with trying to impress the manager and impress the fans. He almost did too much. And I think Oscar Bobb and Paul Palmer are different. Palmer is naturally more sort of a direct player and wants to go at players a little bit more. But, the thing is, Oscar Bobb is he could come on the pitch and just keep the ball. I always say, right, if I was an academy player, I know this is easier said than done. If I was an academy player and Pep gave me the ball, gave me 5 minutes to go on the pitch, I wouldn't even try anything difficult. I'd just keep the ball. I'd make sure in my mind that I have 100% passing accuracy because that's what Pep wants. And that's where you build trust. And over time, that's what happened to Rico Lewis. Do
it quickly as well. Because obviously that's possibly the issue with the thing in the midfield, isn't it? Calvin. Is it just that little bit slow passing the ball, isn't it? So that's why it's not quite working in that respect. But I think Oscar, he sees things and he's passing it quickly. So yeah. No,
I agree. I think he's got great potential. A super exciting player. He can be used on the right. He can be used in the middle. I think the middle ain't going to come straight away. I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of a Phil Foden situation where it takes a while to see that. But for him, he's getting minutes in the first team. He's got his first Champions League minutes, which is great for him. And just building on that now. And yes, it's only 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. But this is the thing with Pep. That 5 minutes will turn into 7 minutes or 8 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 15 minutes. And before you know it, boom, he's throwing you into a start against Newcastle or match day 6 of the Champions League. And if you don't believe, you only have to look at Rico Lewis. You only have to look at these players to see that is the truth. Just keep the ball and don't do anything stupid. But Oscar Bobb, really super exciting. Norwegian player coming through. And if you've not seen him from the academy, keep your eye out for him because he's super exciting. He is in that awkward position. I always think this is the hardest position to be in when you're sort of 19 to 21, 22, where you're not with the EDS, but you're not fully starting games. I always think that's super tough because you're not then playing matches, but you've got to keep your head down, keep working super hard in training. And when you get the 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just try and take it, try and take it. But listen, anything else you want to speak on Oscar Bobb, Gav, before we move on to someone else?
No. Obviously, he had a great summer with Norway as well. So that there's it's not like he'd let off over the summer. So and they played some friendly and was it one qualifier and one friendly, and he played well in those and had a couple of assists. So really super impressed with him. Yeah, like I say, I think he's got a big career for himself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be super exciting to see him develop. Okay, let's talk about a player that I've not really seen too much of, to be honest with you, Gav, and I'm going to be interested to get your views on him. I've seen him, I'm pretty sure I've seen him before, but the first time I properly seen him was the game the other day against Red Star Belgrade. And I'm, of course, talking about Emilio Lawrence, 18 years old. It was his birthday yesterday, actually.
Yes, I know. Just turned
according to Transfer Matt. So he's only just turned 18. Played against Red Star the other day, got 2 goals and an assist, got subbed off after 88 minutes. He looks some player. Am I gassing him up too much off of a game, or have you? What's your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I mean, it's early days from his return from his long-term injury from last year, but we'd only really seen him on the right prior to that. So how well he played on the left and cutting inside and doing what he did, fantastic. It was really exciting to see. Like I say, hopefully he can continue with those levels. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, now I'm checking his stats here. So according to Transfermarkt, he's played. This is only games that have been recorded, so not all games get recorded at academy level. But he's played 10 matches as a right winger. He's played eight games as an attacking midfielder, 8 as a left winger, and then 3 as a centre forward, 1 as a right mid. So predominantly, most of his games have come on the right hand side. He has played in the centre a couple of times, according to Transfermarkt. It's not always up to date.
They may have been while he was at Everton or something. Those other
ones.
I
think they were back in 2021.
Yeah. So I hadn't been able to see him prior to him joining City. So I don't really remember him playing that much.
When you check the right wing stats, they're all basically City. There are a couple of games there when he's at Everton. But tell me about his attributes then, because I thought he looked super good on the ball, really nice on the ball, direct still, but held the ball nicely and picked his moments very well. I thought his decision making in the final third was actually really high quality. Again, when you get players that are young, 17, 18, 19, we've all been there. Playing 5-a-side, playing on Sunday League. You want to shoot. You want to have the shot. You want the glory. But I found that his decision making in the final third, Gav, was really, really impressive.
Yeah, he wasn't rushing things, was he? Making sure that when there was options to pass or whatever, or just glide past another player and stuff, he was timing things really, really well, and so reading how it was going on in front of him. Like I say, but I mean, we saw glimpses of it last year before he got injured, but again, to see it on the other flank was really exciting, and obviously then because he's right-footed, he was cutting inside.
Do you think he's best off of the left or off of the right, based on what you've seen?
Well, obviously, it gives us options if he can play either side, doesn't it? It depends on who Brian Barry Murphy's got available at the time, because Joel tends to work off the left, doesn't he? So if Joel's on the left and then you've got Emilio on the right, then you've got a real potent force there for whoever up front, and with his Will or maybe even Matty Warhurst, who seems to have started the under-18s with like a train. He's looking a real prospect.
Yeah, he obviously came on, didn't he, in the game the other day?
Yeah.
But listen, I really like the look of Lawrence. I'm excited to see some more of him. I'd like to see him on that left-hand side, but as you said, sort of Joel and Darla is obviously our sort of golden sort of player in that team at the moment that everyone's sort of looking at, and the main focus is on him. But I guess it's up to these players to sort of take that limelight from that player and put it on yourself. But listen, I thought that his performance was very mature, and given the fact he's only just turned 18, he was 17 when the game was played. It looks good, and I think that if he continues playing football like that, I think that he's got a potential future at the top level of the game, because, like I said, I thought his decision making was very good. I thought it was very mature the way he played football, and he's much more of a player. Like we look at Borges, and of course we all would have liked to see Borges play for City because he was such an exciting player. But realistically, if you deep it doesn't really suit the sort of Manchester City Pep Guardiola style. You look at someone like Lawrence, and you know, I know it's only early days, but you can see that he's much more of a better fit for the way that sort of we play football. So listen, I'm super excited to see him develop and see what he can do. But there's a couple of other players that I want to go through. But is there anything else you want to speak on Lawrence? Apparently, he's a City fan as well, this Lawrence.
Oh, I didn't know. That's something I didn't know.
That's what IP Trust in the chat has just said. So I don't know if it's true, but that's what he's saying.
Well, he's from Scotland originally, wasn't he? So I don't know. So yeah,
Scottish Blues, mate. The Scottish Blues up there. Going. Now, listen, a player that I actually really like. I think that he's a super interesting type of player. I really like that you don't really know what he's going to do. And hopefully I can pronounce his name right, but if I don't, I'm sure you can correct me. Oboavwoduo. How would you say his name?
It is very, very difficult. I wouldn't even guess to try and say that how I'd say it's correct. But Justin is a fantastic player, and the fact that he can operate in that slightly deeper role and up front as well is tremendous, because his work rate is really good, and he puts defenders so much on the back foot, because his movement on and off the ball is fantastic, and he has a great finish on him as well. Yeah,
no, he does. Well, if Justin, if you're watching, you need to DM us on Twitter or on Instagram and let us know how you pronounce your name, so we don't butcher your name anymore. But I really like him. I think that he's a breath of fresh air when he plays. I think the way that he plays the game is so nice, and I love it when he gets on the ball. I think he's always got like attacking in mind, but not relentless, not to the point where it's detrimental to the team because he's taking the wrong decision. Again, I feel like his decision making is very good. I think he's versatile as to where he can play on the football pitch. Obviously, we've seen, as you said, we've seen him push quite high up. We've seen him play a little bit deeper. Obviously, in the game of the week, he was played a little bit deeper, and they can carry the ball forward with pace and power. Like you said, I think finishing in front of goal, he doesn't really look like he's ever going to miss when he's so comfortable when he gets there. And he's a player that I just think is one to keep. Not many people are speaking about him. People like to speak about the Ndalas. People like to speak about obviously now the Lawrences and whatnot. But I think this guy's a player that is super exciting, and I'm excited to see his development. I really am. And like I say, to be able to play in so many different positions is a real trait. It really is.
Yeah, and so young as well. You know, him and Joel, you know, both, you know, only 17, aren't they? So yeah,
just turned 17 last month.
Yeah,
which is crazy situation. Him again. If you look at his, this is all transfer mark data, and I would just caveat this again that sometimes they get this wrong when it's academy matches, so don't read too much into it. But again, very, very sort of versatile. 15 times he's played on the right hand side. He's played 12 times as a sort of centre forward or maybe like a second striker, and then a number of times as well playing sort of in a midfield sort of position. So very comfortable. And I was going to say, you know, you can play him as a striker, you can play him on the wing, you can play him as an attacking midfielder, because he sort of has a little bit of everything. And I just think, obviously, he's very, very young. He's literally only just turned 17 last month, but he is a player that I just think, guys, keep your eye on him, because I just really like the way he plays football. You know what I mean? Really, really like it. But anything else on Justin, Gav?
No. It just gives Barry Murphy so much options that he can play in that midfield role that it allows Will and like I say Emilio and Thingy to do other things on the wings and stuff. So it's brilliant. It's fun. And like I say, being so young, and he's just only going to get better, isn't he? And he's hardly out with injury as well, which is a plus point on one or the other, because obviously the likes of Emilio and then Kane is deeper. He's had injury issues, so but obviously talented players, but you need to be able to put out a sort of reasonably settled team, don't you? So, but no, it's great that he offers so much to the club, and long may he keep his development going forward. Yeah.
No, completely agree. Well, you mentioned him then, but we should probably speak about him, as he had a really, really good game in the midweek. Kane Taylor, who was exceptional, really, to be honest with you, and probably
I was touch and go whether he got my man of the match instead of Emilio, because obviously Emilio scored some two good goals, but yeah. No,
I mean, 1 goal and 3 assists.
Yeah.
He got credited with. I mean, that is some going. To be fair, Look, talk to me about him, because he's a player that obviously is a little bit older than some of the other players we've just spoke about. He's 18. He'll be turning 19 in February. So he's at sort of the upper age bracket now. So this really, to be honest, needs to be a bit of a breakthrough season for him. For me, I think that he really needs to have a standout sort of season. And of course, he's got off to a decent start there in the youth league. But tell me about Kane Taylor. What are his traits? What's he good at? Maybe where he needs to improve, and whether we think that he could have that breakthrough season that he probably needs.
Well, it's all been whether his body, doesn't let him down, because every time he gets fit, he produces some fantastic displays. Whether it's whether he's playing at left back or a midfield or slightly further forward, so hopefully he can stay injury free and carry on developing, because he's a great talent. And like you say, with the options we've got in front of him, with the likes of Justin, Emilio, we've got Will and whoever, I think Joel, he could really provide all the ammunition for these players to go on and score the goals. Yeah.
No, I think again, it's really important that players at this age stay fit. I know obviously they can't do anything about it. You get injured. Like, what can you do? But it's a crucial part of the development. It really, really is. And in these years, you need to be playing a lot of football to develop your body sort of physically, and obviously getting better at the game and understanding the game a little bit better. So listen, I thought he was exceptional, and I gave my man of the match to Emilio. But I mean, 1 goal and 3 assists. That is some going. So fair dues. And a player that I've not really seen too much of, obviously, because again, he's not really played too much football. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on this year. And off of that 1 game, hopefully he continues that sort of form the way he played. Obviously, the goals and assists won't happen every game, right? But to play the way he did, they were by far for me the 2 best players on the football pitch. They were much more commanding. And they just looked a little bit clear than everyone else. And of course, yes, Kane is a little bit older than some of the other names we've mentioned, but super impressive game from him. Super impressive game from him. So that was decent. Let me just see if there's any other players that I want to go through from the game in midweek, because it was a nice performance. Got the job done in that second half. We battered them, really, didn't we?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'd say we had a couple of lapses of concentration, didn't we? That let them get a couple of goals, but generally it was just all out attack, and they just couldn't cope with us, could they? So,
yeah, I got a question about Ruprecht, is it?
Alpha Ruprecht, yeah.
Yeah, looks like
Farid Alpha Ruprecht, yeah. We bought him from Germany, didn't we, last summer?
Yeah, got him from Hamburg. He's obviously come over. Thoughts on him? Is he something that, from what you've seen,
he's a little bit hot and cold? Some they'll have a possibly run of 2 or 3 games where he's really good, and then others just doesn't quite get into the game. So, but obviously, I say he's a young lad who's in a foreign country, and he's still only a 2nd-year scholar, so he's still got time on his hands. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but I'm going to be glad to watch him a little bit develop. Two other players that I want to talk about. First of all, we'll talk about a player that started the match. Is it Sissoko? Mamadou Sissoko. He started the game. Spanish and English citizenship here apparently. So that's interesting. How did you think he did? And obviously, again, early days. He's 18 years old. He'll be 19 in 20. So again, maybe a little bit towards that sort of older bracket compared to some of the other players we spoke about, but still very young and in that sort of development stage. From what you've seen of him so far, what have you made from him? But signing from Espanyol in 2017.
Yeah, he's another one that's unfortunately suffered from a fair few injuries, hasn't he? So we've not been able to see him a lot. But when he's played, he's done a decent job. But obviously, where he plays in that sort of CDM role, unfortunately, he's got Isaiah Dadamascal in front of him, and so he's going to have to perform to a reasonably high level to keep playing the minutes, isn't he? If Isaiah isn't injured himself, because he's still getting the odd injuries and growing into his body as well. So he's
Jaden Heskey come off the bench. Got a goal. Again, I think it was Lawrence who got the assist on that one. It was brilliant little bit of play actually from Emilio Lawrence, and Heskey didn't really have to do too much about it, but he's obviously a player because of the name. People want to speak about, and people will want to know how he's getting on and what he's up to. Again, very young, 17, turning 18 in December. But what have you made of Jaden Heskey? What's his strengths and
well, I think his composure in front of goal is excellent, but I think the problem he's got is I think he's just not quite quick enough in his overall general play when he's got the ball. But yeah, if the ball's there, his composure to finish, not snatch at it is excellent. So there's a lot in that respect to his game that's really good. But I don't know, in terms of whether or not he is a lot he can do, because obviously whether he can really improve that pace that much, I don't know. But he's a good player. Obviously, it'd be at City, but we don't have a lot of sort of number 9 options anyway, do we? Because even Will Dixon sits a slightly deeper. So, but Jaden offers you something up front, but he's not someone I think we'll be looking at and thinking, yeah, he's going to be an absolute superstar. But I can be proved wrong, but I just think he's just lacking that something, But happy that he's playing and scoring goals.
Yeah, good. Okay. Well, we've covered a lot of players from obviously the game at the in midweek. Any other players you want to speak about? I mean, obviously, Ndala didn't play the game. Dadamasco didn't play the game. Anyone in particular? Chat, by the way, if there's anyone in the chat here that wants to ask any questions about any particular players, then fire them in, and we'll have a look. But anyone we should mention to keep our eye on that maybe we've not spoke about already?
No, I think the main ones we spoke about, really, haven't we? We're still short on that in the left back role, aren't we? Where we've just got Thomas we can play. So
listen, I think Thomas Galvez, is a very interesting player. I think he's I mean, is there really much difference between, say, someone like him and Ana Gomez or them sort of players? They're good on the ball, can drive forward, can put the ball across the box, can link up with his winger or the midfielder or whatever. But probably not the greatest defensively in the world. That's how the modern fullback is playing at the moment. You look at Zinchenko. Look at the likes of Cancelo. Some of these fullbacks not very good actually defensively, but on the ball very good, going forward very good. And listen, Galvez is an interesting player because nobody speaks about him, but it wouldn't surprise me if he made it at the sort of maybe not the top level in terms of Champions League level, but I'm pretty sure the way he plays, he'll fit in the modern day. I mean, he was the guy who was sold to Southampton for $4 million. What was his name? The defender. Do you remember? We signed him when we sold everyone. What was he called? The defender. I think he was a left back or right back as well. And I don't think he was too different. But what's his name?
It's Spanish. Yeah, I know you mean. Yeah, I keep getting Kuto, but it's not. Oh God.
No, it's
yeah. Go.
Larios. Juan
Larios.
Yeah, you know, these players, you know, they fetch a fair few bob, and that's the way the game's playing. You know, big up to Brett, Ryan, and IP Trust, who all got the name before we did, Gav.
Yeah.
Maybe they should come on the show. But yeah, listen, it's going to be an interesting one. It was a good game. Obviously, City are playing. Who is it? We're playing Grimsby. Is it Grimsby? No, Barnsley. Sorry,
Barnsley. But no, we got Chelsea tomorrow night in the league, and then the under 18s have got Leeds on Saturday morning, which is now being put onto City Plus because it's been moved to an 11 o'clock kickoff. So.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
A little bit of 11 a.m. football for you. Then we got the Barnsley game coming up, which is obviously Gav going to. I might go to. I'm not decided whether I'm going to go to that or watch it online, and do a watch along for it. I don't know whether because I'm going to the Newcastle game. I don't know if I can be bothered tracking 2 nights in a row. So we'll see. But either way, I'll be watching it, whether it's there at the ground with Gav or on the watch along. But I'll wait a second. IP Trust says, ask Gav about Chris Dunbar McDonald and new West Ham signing. Oh, I've seen this new West Ham signing. Fabrizio Romano was tweeting about him, so it must be some special player. What's he called? Let me find his name. Let me.
I'd heard rumours that we've been linked with another West Ham player, haven't we? When we signed the defender. But I think
he's only 16, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about him, to be honest with you. But yeah, Divine Macassar he's called. Apparently he's meant to be very good, but obviously he's only 16. Ain't seen him, so we'll have to see how it gets on. But yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, anything else you want to go through, Gav?
Well, just to say, Christian Dunbar McDonald. He came on, didn't he, for the under 18s and scored virtually straight away, didn't he? You know, so over on his debut. So as an under 16, brilliant.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, lots of football to get on with this weekend. Obviously, as I say, Chelsea, Leeds, and then the Barnsley game will be very interesting. And City have got Forest at the weekend. You've got Arsenal in the North London derby. You've got United going to Turf Moor. It's going to be an action-packed weekend. I'm looking forward to it, man. Have you made City's start to the season? Senior team, just quickly before we wrap up. How have you made our start to the season? 100% win record in the Prem.
It's been brilliant, hasn't it? Yeah, it's just obviously odd moments where, as the team has said, where Haaland's not doing his job. but that's about it, isn't it? Because they're creating chance after chance, aren't they? In every game, it's frightening for opposition to see, how the hell do we stop them? Because everyone's just pulling in the right direction. Even when the squad's not as full as it could be.
Yeah. I think Forest will be interesting because they're no mugs. They were unlucky to get beat off Arsenal. They should have beat Man United. They're a good side, so I don't think that this is going to be as easy as some people might think. I really think this could be a tricky game.
It's certainly not going to be the 5-0 it was last year.
No, 100% not. 100% not. Listen, guys, thank you very much for joining and watching the stream today. Make sure you go and check out Gav's Twitter page. Obviously on Twitter, you can see his at there on screen. It's at MCFC_EDS_academy to get all your sort of latest updates on what's going on with the academy and some loan. Let me ask you about Karl. I see you tweeted about Callum Doyle. Some people was asking me about him the other day in the stream. I mean, he's a player that obviously is very good on the ball and sort of is a very modern day fullback, but he's also got incredible experience for his age. I mean, he's 19 years old, going on 20. I mean, you'll be hard pushed to find a player with as much as experience as him. I mean, there was a lot of hype around him maybe a year ago. Obviously, when he was at Sunderland, I think there was a lot of hype about him. I think he went to was it Coventry he went to?
Yes,
or?
yeah.
And now he's obviously at Leicester,
Yeah.
which are having a good start to the season. Well, I'm putting you on the spot here, but where do we see Callum Doyle? Is this going to be a player that just gets sold in a year for big cash, or does he actually have the opportunity to maybe be that defender? Because we've not really seen that centre back ever really come through our academy for a very long time. Could he be the guy that breaks the mold?
Obviously, the problem is the club's just spent thick edge of 70 million quid on Josko, haven't they? So it's difficult, isn't it? It all depends on whether Akanji wants to stay or anything. There's options, or wait for him to. He would definitely do a job for us next year. But again, would he want to just be a rotational player still? I think probably if he's happy to stay on the books, then a Premiership loan next year, then maybe with Leicester again, if they've got the finances to deal with it, and
I mean, that's for me, that's sort of the ideal situation. Leicester get promoted and they just re-sign him on loan.
Yeah.
And then if he has a good season, that's the thing with these young players. They only need one good year. If they have one good season in the Premier League, you're talking 25, 30 million for a single season. You're looking at McAtee at Sheffield United. It's early days, but if he goes on to have a good year, again, you're talking 25, 30 million. Tommy Doyle at Wolves, similar sort of cash, because obviously they're so young. You got the fact that they're English seems to add more money on as well. So listen, I think it's one to keep your eye out. But of course, Leicester have had a great start to the season. I think they're second or third in the Championship and playing apparently some. In fact, no, I seen the goal that they scored. Was it? Did they play yesterday or?
They played yesterday. Last night. They beat
that goal?
Norwich at Norwich. Yeah.
Have you seen that goal that they scored? Where there was knocking. Oh my God, guys! If you've not seen it, go and check out that goal that Leicester scored last night. It was fucking unbelievable. Maresca seems to be doing a madness there. But yeah, listen, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you go check out Gav's Twitter page. You can see his @ on screen there. Make sure you like this stream, subscribe to the channel, guys, and we'll be back in the short future with another Academy stream. See you later.